All right, we'll get on to our last half topic
I
that
know,
came
right?
up with literally 30 seconds before starting the recording.
It's very hard to come up with
Yeah,
topics.
not 30
sometimes.
seconds, a minute.
Not 30 seconds.
But
Give us like a minute, maybe
yeah.
a minute and a half, maybe a minute and a half.
So yeah, we're in E3 season, like we've
Yeah,
mentioned many
man.
times, and
Yeah.
leaks are just hitting hard, dude. They're hitting hard. We're
This
getting leaks. We're getting early trailers.
this roof needs reshingling. Is
Yeah.
what this roof is. What this is.
It's raining all around us. We have no shelter from all this gaming.
I got pots on the floor everywhere for all these leaks. Good God.
Yeah, so we obviously had the Pokemon leaks, which were confirmed on Tuesday
Yep.
to be completely true. And that guy called Sun and Moon too. So if that guy ever says something, you know he's legit. That one like 4chaner. So yeah, let's go Pikachu, let's go Eevee have been confirmed. I'm not really going to dwell on those because we talked about them enough last week, and pretty much everything is true that was said in them.
Yeah.
We've also got the talk of the new Assassin's Creed today being set in Greece.
Which already
That
had
leaked out.
that new leak reveals that it is probably set in ancient Greece, which we just talked about in another podcast where it was one of the settings they didn't want to do.
Yep, so now you're getting all those gods and stuff.
Yep, you're getting Zeus and all of them.
Yep. We had the Bethesda stream where it was just the Vault Boy or whatever his name is.
Yep.
Sitting there for like 12 hours, and the stream went off. Then it went back on, and they announced Fallout 76.
Can I just make a statement here that Twitch chat for a Fallout screen without it even having anything on it was breaking 10,000 people?
Yeah, I had a shit ton of people.
It had an assload of people for nothing there. What in God's name?
Yeah.
It's insane. You're
What
not
does
even
it mean?
showing.
What does it mean,
There's
Todd
no
Howard?
content, and people were there. And then when content showed up, everybody jumped on. That was insane. Like, how do you? I'm gonna lie. I'm a little bit jealous. I wish I could put up a screen and get like 10,000 people to show up.
Yeah. Hey man, when you make Fallout games,
Yeah, I guess when I make my
Game's on that
Fallout
level.
game, when I make my Fallout game, it's gonna be great, and I'll have blackjack and hookers.
exactly. So I think there's a few other games I just can't remember off the top of my head that.
I mean, we got Fallout that's dropped stuff. We have Assassin's Creed that dropped stuff. We have
Been a lot of Nintendo trailers for random games.
Yeah, we've had a fair amount of Nintendo trailers drop things and whatnot. They've been revealing more information about Mario Tennis Ace.
Yep.
Whatchamacalls it? I'm trying to think of anything else.
There was a few. It wasn't like any new announced games or.
It wasn't like new.
that,
Like, it wasn't a lot of new announced games, but there's just a lot of information that's been dropping. And like this is just this week, mind you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even. This isn't even. I'm not even taking into account like all the weeks beforehand that we haven't talked about.
Yeah,
it.
Splatoon 2. We got Pokemon, Fire Emblem Fates or Heroes stuff, Mario Odyssey costumes, just lots of little stuff. Nintendo.
Yeah, it's pretty bloody cool.
Yeah. So this begs the question, like in 10 years, what is E3 gonna even be? Because it seems like companies are moving more towards kind of showing a lot, other than like Sony, which has been really tight-lipped. I mean, we know what they're going to show at E3 basically, but they haven't really shown anything ahead of time. They're saving all their stuff for then, so they can probably control the buzz around the conference. But a lot of people are, like it's happened all week this week, and it's probably going to happen some more next week, are dropping trailers for new games and teasers and stuff, and kind of getting that out of the way so they can just showcase like gameplay and stuff probably at E3. Because Smash has been announced. It was announced at a Direct like 3 months ago now, 2 or 3 months ago. And Nintendo's already said they're just going to talk about Smash. I'm sure we're going to get more news about Fallout 76 from Bethesda. I think Jason Schreier said it was going to be basically some kind of online game. I think
some people have hinted towards it being an online survival. game.
Yeah. Which I'm thinking more like a Left 4 Dead kind of angle when I hear survival, but I don't, because I'm not thinking PUBG. At first, that's what I thought it was.
I think it might be like it might be like an open it's an open world style thing because that's what they are. But you
Mhm.
just go out there and you create crap. And I think that's what they're kind of going at.
Yeah. So what's going to become E3 in the future? Will there always be a place for like the hype trailers coming out, and just it's just being a day full of hype when you got boom, here's your Xbox conference, boom, here's Sony, boom, here's the big third party developers, Bethesda, EA, all of them. Or
I think
are we going to start just seeing trailers intermittently out before it, and it becomes more of a gameplay, maybe even hardware reveal place?
It's kind of hard to say because Microsoft no longer shows up, is no longer actually at the E3 while they still do their conference during. Microsoft has been doing it themselves for a couple of years now, and Nintendo, I think 2 years ago, stopped going to E3 as well and just started doing.
They just have tree houses.
Yep, they just have tree houses for it now. Again, it's still some of the time it's still shared with the E3, but it's not actually at E3 more, and I think that's probably we're gonna see a little bit more of potentially in the future, because honestly, I mean, like obviously, certain other companies have shown up now. You've got Bethesda, you've got I think Activision as well.
Yes, they have one.
Yeah, they have one. You have Activision, Square Enix, Ubisoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft always has a big one.
A PC gaming show has been its own thing for a while, but you have like certain things that are kind of popping up. It's not just Microsoft, Sony, PCs, and Nintendo anymore. You've got other companies who are really showing up and kind of going things. And not to say that those are the only ones from the start. I don't want to get that impression. But just the idea is that we're probably going to see, as time goes on, we're going to either see more companies starting to show up at it, or we're going to see them kind of doing their own thing. And I don't know what that means for E3, because kind of the big part about E3 is that they do all the press conference from. This is the time in a week's time, essentially, to throw down tons of new content of what's coming out, what's going to be, on the agenda for essentially the next couple of years, what's, what we're working on.
From Software, show us.
From Software, please, new Armored Core needed. Those kind of things. I'm kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping that we. What I'm actually hoping is kind of like you stated is I really want to see more gameplay show up at E3. Because the last couple of years, and not to count last, but the couple of years before that, there was a lot of times where it was just trailers and previews, and just trailers and trailers and more previews. And I'm
that's usually Sony stuff. It's always hard for me to get really hot for Sony because they rarely ever show off like gameplay.
It kind of sucks because I'm like, I want to see gameplay of a product, which was always actually, well, what game was it that was really funny about it? They showed it at a game show and it was like, oh, it comes out 6 months later. I was like, whoa, holy shit, that's really quick to be announcing this and then telling me about that. But that's not a bad strategy, because that kind of strategy is actually really good. Because first off, it means that the product you're showing me is generally finished. You're still showing me a non-finished product, quote unquote. But the product you're essentially showing me is technically finished for all intents and purposes. There's still some more work to be done, maybe some touch up, but you've gotten the majority of it out of the way. So I kind of already know what's going to be coming and whatnot, or not for the game. Which means that I don't have to wait 2 bloody years only to find out that they've had some problems and that suddenly Cloud doesn't look exactly like the way you want it to, and you're not really sure about the outsourcing of an outside company, so you decide to take it back in an in-house development. You kind of redesigned it, and for 2 years we get nothing. Square Enix, what the hell?
We replaced all of Shinra's guns with walkie-talkies.
We're now 4 kids. So I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, Square Enix. I'm just saying, Square Enix, that honestly, that's kind of a bullshit thing to do, Square Enix. That kind of sucks. And I'm looking at you also, BioWare, with your new Anthem, EA. Showed that shit off 2 years ago, and
well, 1 year ago, but still.
Oh, 1 year ago. But we haven't heard anything.
Anything. I'm sure we'll hear something this year.
I'm sure it'll show up in this one and whatnot. It can't be.
I'm just saying we better see Ghost of Tsushima gameplay.
We forgot it. We're definitely gonna see Ghost of Tsushima. That's definitely a Sony slot. They've showed.
I just want to see gameplay.
Oh, I definitely want to see gameplay too. We forgot Battlefield 5 got dropped.
Oh, yeah, that
already
did.
been revealed. We forgot about that one
Yep.
for this week.
It's like alternate history World War II.
Yeah, it's like an alternate history of World War II. So
At least it's not stock World War II, because that's like overdone.
stock World War II is so overdone, but you know what's not actually overdone all that much in stock World War II? D-Day itself. Like, I know this is a tangent,
True.
but D-Day in and of itself is almost never done. I remember back when I was but a young lad in Call of Duty 2.
I was gonna say, what, Battlefield 1942?
No, but like Call of Duty 2 actually had it. The opening stage was D-Day. You were literally playing D-Day on the opening stage. I was like, this is amazing. So that's oddly enough, as much as World War II has been done, not a lot of D-Day, and I'm really surprised by that. It's one of the most like well-known
Iconic
events
days.
for the war. Yeah, it's so iconic. So, but we're going back to the E3 and not jumping too far off of the train, so to speak.
Yeah.
We've got I want to also say is that the schedule for E3 has also expanded out a bit. I think this year it's 5 days across technically. It'll only be 4 days regardless of what time zone you're in, but it covers 5 days based on the time itself.
Yep.
You've got EA showing up on Saturday. Microsoft and Bethesda will be sharing Sunday. You have Monday shared by 4 shows. You've got Square Enix at 10 a.m., followed by Ubisoft at 1 p.m., followed by PC Gaming Show at 3 p.m., followed by Sony at 6 p.m., which most of them are either 2 or 3 hours apart, depending on your time and whatnot. And then on the last day, Tuesday, 9 a.m., Nintendo presents itself to nobody that's awake in America at all, ever.
Hey, I'll be up.
We'll all be up, but we'll all be at fucking work, so Nintendo.
Effing watching. I don't care.
It's because it'll be 1 o'clock. Even in Tokyo, it's like a really weird time because in
it is.
even in JST, that's still one.
It's like 13 hours ahead or something.
It's like I think it's like for them, it's like what is it, like 1 in the afternoon or something? I don't know.
Oh, it's way past that at 9 a.m. For us, it's like midnight.
Yeah, it'll be 1 in the morning for them. So they'll be 1 in the morning showing off their own presentation for this. I don't even understand why they chose those times. So
stay up, Japanese people.
Weird. They do weird times, man.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's based around E3's based around obviously
Yeah.
American scheduling, so it's not gonna matter what time it's for them. But so I mean they spread around across essentially 5 days, 4 days now. But it does feel like everything's kind of getting spread a little more. They also they're dropping a lot of information that they normally save when they're not in the press conferences. They drop a lot more information in between. So you actually, and this, as silly as it sounds, it's one of the few times you actually have to like keep open a page or two from different gaming sites, just so that when something is dropped, you can look at it as it goes by. Because trust me, if you try to look up something that happened even on like 2 days ago that was during the E3 conference, you're not going to find it on the front page. It's
and press releases will sometimes have info that you won't see on the stream.
Yep. So you need to so you have to like read the information as it comes out and what. So
it's crazy to stay paying attention to. You're like watching a stream, checking Twitter, like on Kotaku and all these other sites.
As silly as it sounds, you may as well just take those days off.
Yeah, it's almost.
Sometimes
I might actually do that. Take that Monday and Tuesday off.
I have been tempted to do it
just so I can take notes because it sucked last year at work.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It sucked trying to keep up with it. It's really hard to try to watch it because you have to do your job. So, but kind of just looking at all this and seeing them drop, I'm not so sure about this year. I don't know if I'm going to, if that's something I have to worry about because they're throwing out so many things. Obviously, the press conferences will show us more.
Yeah.
Obviously. But, but with all them dropping so much information and so many of these games getting like leaked or showing what's going to happen for them and whatnot, the only thing we're really going to be kind of walking into this is to either get more information on it or to see something that wasn't talked about at all, or just to see the press conference itself, which you can always actually look up the press conference and rewatch. That's not hard to do. I just don't know if it's going to be like, I just don't know. I'm really hoping that this year in E3 is not a letdown, because that's kind of the impression that I felt from, what was it, the Sony game show? The
PSX.
PSX was a huge
yeah
meh fest.
And they kind of want that to be their bigger than their E3 show because it's like a whole convention, like a 2 or 3 day convention around PlayStation. So
I think that's the problem is you're trying to like you're trying to expand
we're
5
spreading
minutes.
the butter a little bit too thin.
Yeah,
you got layered it up on this one piece of toast.
You've got 1/3 of an inch of butter for 3 slices of toast.
Yeah.
So
see, and that's what I'm worried about. Is E3 going to become more of an afterthought? Is it going to be not as hot as it has been in the past with all this info spread out?
I don't know. I mean, even with like,
it's hard to say.
It's hard to say because even with all these leaks and this information dropped out, that doesn't mean that they don't have more to share later on.
Yeah.
And that's really the thing to get into. They dropped like information on, for instance, like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. Well, they showed us a trailer, but they didn't really show us tons in it. We see that you capture Pokemon. You can choose which Pokemon you run into capture. It's got Go access. You can play with a stupid Pokeball model thing to go with it. I don't understand why the Switch controller looks just as fine. Yep. And it looks like looks like you can do Pokemon battles with other trainers and whatnot. Like you can infer a lot of data, but there's not lots of details being told to us, like bits and pieces that a trailer that's trying to show us what this game is and why you should get it or be prepped or get hyped for it, as opposed to be told the deeper details of what the game entails, of how things are going to happen, so on and so forth. Stuff that, a silly presentation that Nintendo would normally show us. So I don't know.
It almost more depends on what kind of games you like. Do you like more story stuff? Do you like more gameplay stuff? So I feel like the people who like story stuff more are going to enjoy E3 more. And those are the people who tend to love the Sony conference all the time because they like the cinematic games. They don't necessarily. It can be any game gameplay mechanic as long as it's like cinematic.
Oh, I'm just saying, Devil May Cry 5 Ride in the Streets, so the better show gameplay of that, Sony.
Well, I was gonna say Pokemon Switch, but we got this, which is basically the interim game till the real thing comes out next year.
In 2019 E3, they'll probably show something about it. So
you also want some more FF7 footage, don't lie.
I do want that FF7.
Yeah, I want to see some more too. I think we're due
it's been so quiet. It's been quiet for like 5,000 years. I just don't understand. It's because Tetsuya Nomura is on this product. I'm telling you, Tetsuya Nomura, he likes to take.
We're gonna get Kingdom Hearts 3, man. We're gonna get some more info on that.
He's on Kingdom Hearts 3, so now that means Final Fantasy 7's taking the back seat. It's gonna be 13 years before we see this game.
But what about when he starts developing Final Fantasy 16?
Oh God, he's no more.
Will they announce Final Fantasy 16 this year?
Look, I don't need any more of my Gak. Okay, I'm tired of seeing him in everything.
That's what we need. We need an HD remake of Cross Score.
He showed up in my Final. He showed up in my Final Fantasy 14 stream. I was so upset I had to turn it off.
Did he really?
I don't think he actually. I can't remember if he actually showed up or not. But I think he. I think in like one of the streams that I didn't actually watch, he did show up for like a brief period of time.
The freak.
He's got in with Square Enix real good. Everybody on an executive level.
He wants to sit there and read Loveless to you.
He just does.
Quote Loveless at you.
Fucking hated that. That character had no point in that game whatsoever.
Yeah,
written him completely out.
He was a really bad plot hook, basically, or plot. What's the word for it?
Plot reveal?
Nah, not reveal. Plot. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're trying to say, though. I just don't remember the term either.
And on Jill was kind of too, but that's a segue again. So
that's segue again.
E3.
Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think we will be. I think we'll see some cool stuff. I think we'll see some new stuff that'll interest us a little bit.
I mean, if they drop all this information now and we go into E3 and they drop even more stuff and about the games they have and new games, I mean, I'm going to consider that a complete success. All the stuff they drop now doesn't matter because there's even more to learn about it at the press conference. So don't worry, we can still. It tells you as a viewer, it's like, don't worry, we can drop this stuff about a game and whatnot, and then we can talk about it later on, and you won't feel like you've lost anything, or you won't feel like we're just rehashing something. So if it works well, I'm all for this kind of thing where they kind of drop stuff that you think might be at E3 or what's going to show up at E3, and I'm kind of excited for that because that means that game developers are more likely to do fun stuff. Like waiting on a Twitch stream with Fallout on it for like 7 hours before switching on that. That kind of stuff is fun and interesting, and it gives viewers kind of something to do to talk about, to hype themselves up for something that should be hyped up. Yeah,
it builds up the hype. It leads you in 2 weeks ahead of time into what we're all looking forward to. So
but just remember that the bigger the bigger the creature, the harder the fall. So if they mess this up, that is going to be a hell of a crash.
Yeah, there have been some bad E3s before.
Yes, there have.
The past two have been pretty good.
They've been pretty good for the past two, so I'll let it slide this time.
So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. We'll be back next week to talk about more reveals that inevitably happen throughout the next week when Half-Life 3 is announced.
Half-Life 3. Can't wait for it.
They'll just win the E3 if that happens.
They're never going to do it.
No, they won't.
Although they did, the guy who worked on the Half-Life series did eventually reveal what the story for Half-Life 3 would have. So,
I know nothing about the series, so I can't comment. I just know people want Half-Life 3 really bad.
It's become so much of a meme at this point. It's Valve, but that's
it's vaporware. If it was everwhere in the beginning, so.
Did it ever truly exist, Dobbs? Oh, was it nothing more than a figment of your imagination?
Just in our minds, in our hearts, waiting to be played in a distant dream. This has been episode 54 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of live in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on Twitter, Podcast5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast, Meta them stream at twitch.tv/PSOFlow, ours at twitch.tv/Podcast of Five Rings, with the 5 spelled out. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to watch a bunch of Magic Pro Tour. I'm going to read Spooky's book because I got that in.
Oh, the book. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
It came out this week. I'm going to check that out. It looks like a easy weekend read. It's pretty thin. And looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to some more trailers next week. It's going to be a good time. And I think we did pretty good with just you and me, if I do say so myself.
Oh, man.
It all didn't burn down.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. They'll be back next week to ruin everything. Tetzel won't be sick. He'll give the flu to all of us. I'll show up anyways. Mao had an awful time with his family or something like that.
Yeah, right.
It's all going to come crashing down. So we'll see you guys next week with some more video game trailer talk. What's it going to be?
What's it going to be?
Mario Golf. Ooh.
Probably. It'll be great. That's what we're looking for.
Metroid Prime 4. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some early Ghost of Tsushima.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.